Greetings. Hello. This is me right now. Let me get a tripod maybe. My dirty bed. It's dirty. Let's see. Alright, there we go. Cool. Alright, so try to avoid everything that's dirty here. Okay, cool. So what do I want to talk about? Right now I'm very, I don't know. Yesterday I had this feeling where it's like, what I'm doing right now is not worth it. Like, I don't know. There are so many times where it's like, man, I really want to quit, and I do quit. But then right now I don't know, right now it was kind of like weird considering that, like, so for like context, right, is that like I'm trying to become a project manager and everything. Because like they make good money and you have the freedom of like going out to different places, and I could probably do all the things I want to do. Um, but I'm considering, like, is this worth it? Like trying to like make a video, like that feels too daunting to do. You know what I mean? Like, how do you know if something is worth doing, right? So here just comes the quote: is, do you push or pivot? Push or pivot, meaning like pivoting means that instead of going the current direction that you are going, you choose something else different. Like, do something that's adjacent, or do something that's completely different. You just pivot. You just change direction instead of going forward. And obviously pushing, it just means you just keep going the same direction and just trudging through. Even if it is harder to do, you just keep going. And like, this is kind of hard to understand because, like, if you don't push, then maybe you wasted time doing the thing that you could have done. But if you don't pivot, right, then maybe you're continuing to do the same thing that goes to a dead end. You know what I mean? So yeah, for me in this instance, like, is becoming a project manager, is that the right thing to do? Am I just wasting my time by continuing to do things? Have I already got everything that I needed from this segment of my life, or do I continue going? And I don't know. I asked Gemini, right? I do know a few books which kind of like deal on the topic about like dealing with like what is the thing to do. You know what I mean? Yeah. So I know these two books. It's called The Dip, and then you have the other book. It's the 12-Week Year. The Dip is by Seth Godin, or Godin, I don't know. So Godin, I think he talks about, like, there's a time in which like you're experiencing a high, and then you hit a low. You know what I mean? In this kind of like desert of like nothing's happening, and that's the dip, where there's no positive reinforcement, there's nothing going on, and it just sucks. But the dip is actually very good in the sense that that shows like where people kind of like fall off, right? Like, I don't know, that's where you actually have your like most of your competition died. This is the point where, like, I don't know, you can decide to keep going and then receive all the rewards that the other people didn't, right? And then there's the other book. It's called The 12-Week Year, and that sort of is more focused on the idea about like, you gotta prioritize and do everything. But there's a sort of graph where it's like the emotional cycle of like trying something new, right? So like, I don't know, there's like 5 stages, I think. So like the first one is uninformed optimism. So like you're at a high, you're trying this new thing. It's like, oh, this seems so cool. This is amazing. And then you get to this other point where it's uninformed pessimism. Yeah, uninformed pessimism, where like, oh, things are starting to suck and everything. And then you get to this point where it's called Valley of Despair. And this is the point where, like Seth Godin talks about, is the dip. And this is just where things just suck. You know what I mean? Like, nothing's happening, and it's just terrible. And then this is like really the turning point again. Like, if you should push or pivot. And if you decide to push, then it becomes informed pessimism, and then it becomes informed optimism. You actually get the rewards that you want. So it kind of like goes into a dip. Like you have to go through a negative period before you can actually like enjoy the fun. And I don't know. After doing a little bit more research and like I'm trying to understand these things, right? I think the general takeaway is that like if you have not done the work, right? If you have not done the work to actually get the results you need to actually figure out what's happening, or you haven't tried an extensive amount of time, like actually just do the work. If you haven't actually done the work, that's when you should push, you know. And if you have been pushing and pushing and pushing and pushing and pushing and pushing, and it seems like a dead end, right? You've gotten results and I don't know, it just doesn't actually work, then that's when you should pivot, right? Like, I don't know, that's definitely when you should do it. As far as in terms of like more specific details about like how far you should be pushing or like how long you should be pushing or what results result in what, right? I think that's something I can't say. I think I have to like reread the books and everything. But as far as right now, in terms of like me trying to figure out me and my life, trying to become a PM, I find that it is difficult, or at least I do find that I have no motivation for it. But I think I just haven't tried that hard. You know, I think that I've tried really hard in terms of like I don't know, just like trying for like 2 quarters, trying to like become a project manager, like learning, like taking certifications, reading 2 books about leadership and everything like that. I've tried a little bit for applying online and everything. I get discouraged at the fact that like so many like there's so many jobs and then like so little time to like write these applications and everything like that. Like that sucks, you know. Yeah, it just sucks. Um, yeah, and then like yesterday, like when I was trying to like make a content, so like make a video about like becoming a project manager in Minecraft. I think like the idea of it is cool, but like and right now I'm working on a Minecraft world myself. Like it's a solo game and like you know, it's for me only. Um, it it's fun, you know, like you know, just doing things by myself and it's good. But I actually don't want to make another world because that takes a lot of time. Honestly, like you know, for me, like I see Minecraft as a massive, massive like time suck. You know, like I think it can be fun. It is fun actually, like, but I do also recognize that like there are times in which like it is very difficult. Like I don't know, like I actually don't want to like play sometimes because like how hard it gets. But like those are the times where we should push. You know, it's not like you're doing these stupid things for like nothing, right? Like I don't know. For instance, right now, like I'm trying really, really hard in my personal server, my Forever World, like to get what is it? To beat the Nether, you know, to actually like find a Nether fortress, right? Like I beat the Bastions. I mean, like the Bastions are actually like not as hard, you know. Like you just have to like make sure you seclude the areas and kill the piglin brutes, right? Like you know, then they're like dead, you know. Ghasts are actually really annoying, but it's not too hard, right? I'll say that. Man, that's crazy. Just Gash is throwing like I don't know, freaking balls of fire and they explode. That's crazy. But yeah, like or like making an EXP farm, like that's annoying to make. Like I don't know, it took like I think 15, 25 stacks of cobblestone. It's actually a lot. It's a lot. But even though that was hard, I think that was like very necessary to do. You know, so while there are different ways about getting the same goal, I think sometimes you just have to push through. Like the only way is through. And I don't know, like otherwise you just quit. And you just quit, you know. But I don't know, maybe I'll be here like a quarter from now. I'll be like, oh no, I don't want to do this stuff, you know. But yeah, hard work is hard, and like there's no exception. It's like that's what it means. That's what it means to be like hard. It's like it's freaking hard to do. Um, but as far as that goes, I think that is the message. Is that like if you, yeah, I know side tangent, yeah. Um, if you haven't done the work, I think you have to just push through. You know, just give it more effort. Give it another week. Give it a month, quarter, another year. You know. But I don't know. If you have been trying, you've been trying your best with 85% effort, right? And you haven't gotten the results you have gotten, done it for a sustained amount of period, then that is when you should pivot, right? I think for me, like in terms of like making art and everything, like I've been trying to make art, made art, and I don't know, it just doesn't hit right. I don't know. Maybe it just died, I guess. But I don't know. I think, and then like another thing is that like with motivation is like this thing that just doesn't, like it's good in like a certain circumstance, you know, like oh wow, you're like very like appealed and drawn to this thing, but then if it just dies, it just dies, you know, it just doesn't revive itself, it just dies. But yeah, that's all. Anyways, bye bye. I don't know, I feel like that stopped at a weird time. Okay, all right, bye. I don't know how to say this. All right, just bye.